Today we have a double espresso topped up with hot water in my total fucking legend mug because it's getting chilly here in Sydney. Don't know where you are, but it is wonderful and chilly here with a nice sunny, cold weekend. Now the rain's back, but hey, life goes on. I hope you are all feeling well, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Monday Morning Moonshine, named as such because it is Monday. We're going to the moon, and I believe that every single one of you has the chance and ability to shine. So let's get into it today. What are we talking about? What are we talking about today? Because we're going across a few different channels here. We're going across my marketing channel for To The Moon Digital. We're going across my personal Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And we're also going across my offline Ep4 page, which is about, working online, making a living offline. Good morning, Carl. How are you, brother? Wonderful to see you. Thank you for all your lovely comments on my stuff, by the way. Carl, you're so what are we talking about today? I want to talk about kind of patience and, just being patient and feeling guilty when things aren't going as fast as you want them to, whether that's in life, in relationships, in finances, in physical body, in business, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, in skills, trying to learn the guitar, who knows, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Can I turn captions on this thing? No, I can't do it. And I thought I could. Sometimes we move slower than we think we're going to. And there's two areas in my life where I move slower than I think I'm going to. One is, physically, when I'm always trying to put on some muscle or get leaner or get stronger or get faster or whatever. And the other one is kind of saving up money to invest in a property or something like that. And it becomes very, very easy to look at what you're not achieving and just to look at things one day at a time and think, okay, I am doing poorly here. I'm not doing as well as I thought I should be. I'm not going as fast as the people around me are going. And that can be a very common occurrence. If anyone's watching right now, let me know what you're feeling impatient about, what you're feeling guilty about that isn't moving as fast as you want it to move. Because we all get there. We all have goals, especially if we're here watching this kind of thing, if we're doing this kind of, personal development chats, business chats in the morning, we probably all have a goal we want to hit. And for me, as I said, two different ones. I'm slower at getting results physically, and while my company does well, money going into the bank seems to go slower than I want to as well, because I put up these, what happens, we put up these expectations of ourselves. And it's a really interesting thing. I don't know if you've experienced this, but when you get into kind of personal development, reading books, listening to seminars and tapes and audiobooks and being ambitious and setting goals, you start to set a bigger freaking, you start to create a bigger gap for yourself between where you are now and where you want to be. And that's a very interesting one. Because often we're quite, maybe we're not entirely happy where we are before we start getting into PD and personal development and growth and success and all this stuff. Maybe we're just kind of we're chill, we're getting along day to day and, eat, sleep, work, go out on the weekend, have some fun, cook a few meals, HelloFresh, whatever it is. And we feel content. Maybe there's something missing. And that's why we often get ourselves into personal development in the first place. When we get into it, however, what do we expect? We expect everything's going to be amazing. We're going to feel strong. We're going to feel freaking confident and successful and just be able to do whatever we want. And it's really, really fun, right? However, what often happens to people is we actually create this huge gap between where we are now and where we want to be, because where we want to be now becomes so much further away and so much more possible and more ambitious because we see what the people around us are doing. If you've never been to personal development before and then you go to a freaking Tony Robbins seminar and he's telling you all this stuff is possible, and then you start hanging out with people who, you follow them on Facebook and they've got better cars than you, or better houses, or better jobs, or families, or bodies than you perceive them to have, then it's pretty scary. You realize that you're actually not where you think you want it to be. You're actually further back than you thought, because now your finish line is so much further away. And so what personal development and success and ambition often do is they make you feel worse about where you are right now when they're actually meant to make you feel better. But there's a few things we can do about that. If anyone's ever felt like that, let me know. When you've started like working with a coach or like following people, or even if you've started playing guitar, doing guitar lessons, and then you see a video of freaking Jimmy Page or Steve Vai just shredding, and you're like, I'm so shit compared to this guy. How am I meant to ever get there? And you thought you're okay until you heard someone so much better than you. Very interesting, this comparison thing. Give me a sec. Couple of solutions for this. Not that I have the solution, but I've been through this quite a lot, and I feel like I'm in a place right now where I'm relatively happy with my life. Thank goodness. And it's not always been like that, but right now it's pretty good, right? So that's fantastic. What was I going to say? Yeah. All I can ever do on this live stream is give my experience and never suggest advice, because I don't know your situation. I don't know your life. All I can do is tell you what I think and what I feel. And, maybe it resonates with you, right? So one thing that I do is I think that if you set a goal for yourself to reach a certain place, you're much more likely to actually get yourself closer to it if you say, I am exercising to get to a certain level, to get to a certain weight, to a certain strength level, certain physique, to run a marathon, right? That's like really good towards motivation. We call that pull motivation. That's like, I'm working towards this. I'm being pulled towards this situation. However, what a lot of us do is say, oh, I'm exercising to not be overweight, or I'm starting this business to not be broke, or I'm working this job just to pay my bills, right? And what we do is we set up. Do I pause? And what happens then is that it's often a great place to get started. Pain and like where you don't want to be, and shock and trauma or whatever it is a great motivation to get started. But the problem is, the reason so many people, fail after a while, once they start to have a little bit of success, to get away from where we were rather than moving towards where we want to be, right? So this bear with me. If you're going from here to here, right, and you're starting at where you don't want to be, and your end point is just to not be there anymore, your end goal is just not be in the situation you're in, then what's going to happen is you get out of that situation, and then you've hit your goal. You're not there anymore. And so you stop working as hard, and you sabotage yourself, and you fall back. And then you say, okay, once again, I'm not letting that happen again. I'm going to exercise so that doesn't happen again. Not so I can be here, so that doesn't happen again. And then you fall into that pattern again. So you go like this, lose a bit of weight, and then fall back. Or make a bit of money, fall back. Get into a good relationship because you don't want to be single, fuck it up. Self-sabotage. It happens all the time. I used to do this all the time. Start a business so I didn't have to work a job. However, it's a very different mindset. When you start your business in order to employ people, create freedom, have an impact, leave a legacy, whatever it is, right? You work towards that. You've always got somewhere to go, right? Always got more people to employ, always got more freedom to create for yourself and your team. You've always got more impact to have on other people, right? So, but if you say, I'm going to start a business so I don't have to work a job, anyone can do that. You can start a business, leave your job, and then you've won again. But then, your business isn't moving forwards because you don't have those bigger goals, right? You have those good places to be. So the first thing I would say to help to, and this might sound paradoxical from what I'm, trying to get at, but the first thing I would say to actually avoid feeling bad about your current situation is to actually just create, your thinking around where you do want to be and using that pull towards motivation rather than where you don't want to be. What you can do then, right, when you're moving forwards, is you can actually focus not on the gap between where you are now and where you're going, but the gap between where you are now and where you were. And that's a lot harder to do. Very hard to do, right? Thanks for all the interaction today, Carl. Love you to bits, man. And whoever's on TikTok giving me some love right now, Josh, thank you, mate. So basically, that's my first one. Is if you can actually firstly begin by giving yourself those towards goals rather than saying I don't want to be here, saying I do want to be here. Whole different mindset, and there's always further to go. However, because you're moving forwards intentionally with a positive mindset, you can actually create that gap and focus on the gap behind you rather than the gap in front of you. That's step one. The second one, I think this is going to be very, very relevant, especially for, Carl saying at the moment, business is slower for me at the moment, man. Business goes through series like that. Life goes through seasons like that. We're all in seasons. We all know this. There's people who would have been crushing it 2 years ago or even months ago. And then we struggle, inflation or pandemics or whatever happens. Yeah. Shit goes down and then, seasons, right? However, this is something I was told a few years back that really stuck with me. And it's really, really important. Okay. If you are feeling guilty or pissed off or stressed about the situation you're in now because you're having a bad week or a bad month or a bad 2 months, yes, there's things you can do, action you can take to get out of it, right? But often that guilt and that doubt can be so crippling that we actually avoid the work and we don't do it. We avoid moving forwards and we just don't get into it. We don't get after it because it's easier not to, because then we're just putting up this shield and this guard. We fall into that little pit. We're like, fuck it, and we're not doing it. That's a very easy pit to fall into when you're not feeling like you're getting results in whatever area of your life you want to be in, right? So what we do is we then think, how long do I really want to be in this end result of this goal? Do I want this business just to be successful this year? Or do I want this business to be successful forever? Do I want to have a six-pack just for summer this year? Or do I want to have be fit and healthy forever? Do I want to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner just to go out with tonight and spend the weekend with? Or do we want to have someone to spend our life with, right? What you do when you zoom out and you look at your journey in life as a whole and how big your end result can be and how long you want it to go on for, which generally, if it's worthwhile, is forever, right? Forever. You want this thing to be forever, at least for a long amount of time, 20, 30 years, if it's a business or whatever it is. Then we can zoom out, and the week you're in right now, or the day you're in right now, or the month you're in right now seems very, very unimportant indeed. If you're not getting the results you want today or tomorrow or this month, when you zoom out and say, hang on, this is a lifetime goal for me. I want to just be a free freaking digital nomad entrepreneur with a great family, or with a job. It doesn't have to be a business, because I understand not everyone has that kind of goal in them. I just happen to be that. That's how I talk. That's in my narrative. But basically, when you zoom out and you think, I'm in this for life, then this one shitty month really doesn't matter as much, right? Because you've had really bad times in your life. Like when you were 18, probably when you were 19, 20, 17, you probably went through quite a long time when you were not doing a lot of work. You were pretty lazy and you weren't really working on yourself, developing yourself. A lot of us were like that for the first 21 years of our life. A lot of us are like that forever. It doesn't matter. But when you look back at all the time you've taken in your life where you haven't been moving forward particularly fast, then it can come to a point where you realize that didn't hold you back. You're still where you are now. You're still happy. You still have all these great things. Just because you didn't do shit for 18 years, so what? You're still here now. So why is 1 month or 1 day or 1 week or 1 year going to make a difference? As long as you have that mindset to keep moving forward and focusing on the gap behind you rather than the gap in front of you, and you're not worried about the short-term goals and the short-term end results, you're worried about the end result that you truly, truly want, then that can make it a lot easier for the guilt and the doubt to disappear. That can make it a lot easier to be patient. That can make it a lot easier to feel okay with where you're at now, even though it's not always ideal. Okay? Let's take my situation very quickly before we shut off for the day, right? I am in a situation where I have, my beautiful baby girls, and they're nearly 2 now. Holy shit. And a lovely wife. And I feel very lucky, and this isn't a brag, but it's like, okay, business and life, not making $1 million a year right now. That's fine. Business and life, couldn't just go out and buy an investment property right now. pretty cool if I could. I said maybe I want to buy one this year, but but if it doesn't happen because of inflation or because we get some bills or whatever, then how many years do I have to put the foot down? I'm freaking 31. I've got 2 babies at home. When they go to school in 3.5 years' time, I'm going to miss the shit out of them. And I'm going to have so many more hours a day to do whatever I want and move that needle forward, as Carl just said in the comments. Move the needle forward, put the foot down. The same thing in like fitness. I can't go out for big morning surfs and swims and gym sessions in the mornings now. I've got babies to look after. And then I kind of got to fit it in when I can. How about in 3 years' time or 2 years' time or 1 year's time where they sleep in later in the mornings or I don't need to feed them overnight, then I can put the freaking foot down. We're young. If you're on this, if you know how this video works, if you know how to like log in and watch a live stream, you're probably pretty young and probably got quite a lot of time to put the foot down, right? I don't want to go into the whole cliche like Colonel Sanders started KFC when he was 83 or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, it's all about just zooming out and looking at what you really want over time rather than what you want this weekend or this year. Because it's very easy to set goals for this year. And in the personal development success industry, is like, you got to grow. You got to double every year. If you're not growing, you're dying, and they shout at you and it's great to get you going and motivated. But in the shitty times, it doesn't help, doesn't give you shit, but just make you feel worse, right? So it's a great way to get started. All these freaking YouTube videos that pump you up. The Rock gets up at 4 a.m. and works out twice before you wake up in the morning. And then he sleeps 4 hours a night and makes, $400 million a year. Great place to get started. However, in the moments when things aren't going to plan, being yelled at to get up at 4 a.m. isn't going to help. Knowing that you're in this for a long time and that you've got time and you can be patient and grateful for where you're at now, how cliche that sounds or not, makes life a lot easier to deal with the times when it's not going as well as you want it to be. So anyway, guys, that's my Monday morning moonshine today. I really appreciate people have been skipping in and out, and that's great. Massive thank you to Mr. Carl Peterkin today for just smashing in the comments. Love that. We're slowly seeing this live stream rise in viewership, and I can't wait for just to talk to you guys again. I'm very blessed and I'm very honored that you guys rock into to talk. So that's just my thoughts. That's just my feelings. And I love having a freaking platform to come and talk to people, even if it's just a few people at a time. Thank you. Have a freaking wonderful day, guys. Love you all to bits. And I'll see you on the Coaches to the Moon podcast.